Hi, I'm Rosh from Energy Matters. Welcome to our podcast, Road to Zero, where we dive headfirst into all things renewable. Join us as we chat with industry experts, tech specialists, and some of your favorite TV and radio personalities, asking the renewable energy questions that you want answers to. Our goal, a zero carbon future. Today, I am absolutely delighted to talk to my buddy and probably one of the top guys in the industry, Mr. Wilf Johnston from General Manager APAC of Enphase Energy. Wilf, how are you this morning?
I'm very well. Great to be here, Rosh.
Thank you very much, mate. You're an absolute legend in the industry. I promised myself I wasn't too sure whether or not I mentioned, but former CEO of Energy Matters as well. So you probably have one of the most glowing resumes in the industry.
Yeah, no, it's great. Great to be here. Great to be back.
No, good man. Well, look, Will, first and foremost, just for those who don't know you, just a little bit of background on yourself. I mean, your journey today. What got you involved in the renewable energy industry? What have you been up to?
To be simple about it, I spent about 10 years in software. So I was involved in sort of the early kind of dot-com waves and tech startups and what have you, the first time around. And then I guess when I saw the second coming of that, I thought, well, this is a little bit kind of more of the same. And at that time, back in 2008, I was getting quite interested in renewables and sustainability, and jumped into work for the solar industry in Australia, which was it's been great. So I've been about 15 years now, and predominantly working for Silicon Valley-based solar technology companies, and obviously now over at Enphase.
No, fantastic. It was a much more glamorous Energy Matters when you worked at it, for sure. But at the same time, you certainly left an amazing company for me to work in. But Enphase, Enphase is a brand that I have a lot of respect for. Whether or not consumers watching this today actually understand who Enphase is, they certainly will by the end of this conversation, because it plays such a pivotal part, especially in the efficiency of solar power systems. But what had you choose Enphase, Wilf? What happened there?
I think Enphase for me was just really symbolic of where the next stage was going to be in terms of solar energy and distributed energy and so forth. So I felt that after all the time I'd spent in this space, that there was still a lot of, let's say just sort of basic fish swimming about. And I felt that Enphase was kind of the product that had got out of the water and kind of walked up the beach on two legs. It was really kind of taking things to another kind of stage of evolution. I think there's probably still a couple of products out there, like, a couple of salamanders that are kind of, fish with legs, kind of not quite sure where they are yet. But I think what we're doing is really sort of looking how you mix in software, how you mix in distributed architecture, and just create that new system that we know is going to be needed going forward, right? We feel that we sort of address that whole range. We got in quick with a battery early on. We've had a little bit of a lag there in getting our sort of version 2 battery out, which will be here later in the year. And I think with that in place, it's sort of the last piece of the jigsaw that enables that full kind of energy solution for people.
Yeah, which is incredibly exciting. If you were to look at, for everyone out there watching today or listening today, what would you want customers to know about Enphase? What 3 things would you say differentiate you guys from your competition?
For me, we always try and keep it pretty simple. I think there's a lot of tendency in this industry to kind of really drill down on tiny little kind of technical details. We're lucky in that, smarter, safer, tougher is where we're coming from, right? At the end of the day, we've got the cloud-based smarts and data analytics and, the ability to really connect to any microinverter anywhere around the world, because we mandate that connectivity piece. So I think, each little microinverter is, extremely valuable piece of high technology. The safety, because we have the ability to turn stuff off instantly if there's an issue. I think that any system that's got that rapid shutdown capability, I think is really that sort of next stage we need to get to in terms of safety. But obviously Enphase being an AC energy system, once you just switch it off the wall, everything's dead, as opposed to a DC system, which, is still going to be live. And then tougher, it's IP65. We can, survive more heat than anyone else, and we're waterproof. So, we feel like all those kind of things, the smarter, safer, tougher, is really an easy way to look at how we've designed our product and why we think it's going to be the sort of benchmark, I guess, moving forward.
No, absolutely. I mean, looking at your software with anyone that I know who has been installed with Enphase, I mean, looking at the application itself, it's absolutely fascinating to actually identify every single panel's performance and how they're performing at any given time is absolutely incredible. And I'm also at Energy Matters, we get a number of our retailers or different partners are now moving into the service and maintenance space, given that solar power has been around and on people's roofs now for maybe 10 up to 15 years, and systems are starting to fail. And the one question we get from customers all the time is, look, I've got a traditional system on my roof. The panels aren't working. How do I fix it? Or what's wrong? And one of the key things for me with Enphase is to be able to isolate and identify immediately if there is a panel not working, which one it is, looking at the performance. That's absolutely incredible technology. I mean, I and I apologize in advance to all my friends in the string inverter space, but really, for that level for the ability to have that level of visual impact and be able to understand exactly what's happening at any given time, I mean, surely that's got to be something that, it would become the standard.
Yeah, look, I think it should do. And ultimately, it is another step in functionality, and that comes at a cost. So, it's a question of saying, all right, it's for some customers, they'll roll the dice and go, you know what, I'll take my chances. If something fails, there's going to have to be a truck roll. There's going to have to be someone coming out, poking around, because they won't be able to remotely diagnose anything. We diagnose, the lot from our offices. You call our customer service line, whether you're a homeowner or an installer. We get about probably 40% of our calls coming into our centre are from homeowners, and we'll talk through a troubleshooting process, help them understand where the issue is, and hopefully that'll minimise the amount of time on site, which is good for an installer, but also good for a homeowner if they're having to pay for that. Minimising that and making it a really short, sharp swap out is really helpful. And then just the fact, because it's distributed and you've got a single inverter for every panel, if one of them breaks, well, you've only lost out of 20 panels, a 20th, right? You're down 5%. Yeah. So 95% of your system's still happy. Whereas obviously the single point of failure with a string, you lose it, bang, you're out 100% of all your energy. It's more urgent to fix it. The installer's scrambling to get out there because every day is like 100% of lost output. So I think there's a lot of inherent advantages, which some people will see the value in and pay for, and others will sort of roll the dice. But, that's up to them.
No, fair play. Well, we're certainly fans. Now, Wilf, we've got Open Homes Australia coming up. We're absolutely delighted to feature Enphase on the show, and in fact, you're on. It kicks off this on Saturday at 4:30 p.m. on 9 Live, episode 1. Before I start talking to you more about Open Homes, let me just quickly play the preview.
Sure, let's go.
On this episode of Open Homes, an architectural masterpiece with stunning views.
I don't quite know which way to look.
We get a special tour of Ronnie and George's house from the Block 2021.
This feels like a really nice vibe in here. It's really calming.
Mid-century modern in Brisbane.
Your outdoor area is the space that just keeps on giving.
A statement house surrounded by water. Dave goes tropical in Toorak. And at the climax of the show, the ultimate beach house in the ultimate location.
What I love most about the facade is it's quite unpretentious. It's not saying, look at me. Instead, it's saying, look at the view I've got behind me.
Come with us as we step inside.
I'm going to struggle watching the show, although Energy Matters absolutely gorgeous. My wife is looking at me every 5 seconds saying, moving, Rosh. I mean, to have you guys on Open Homes is absolutely awesome. I mean, what had you choose to be in the show?
Look, I think your microphone seems to be playing up. I'm struggling to hear you there.
Oh, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I hear you perfectly there.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. Do you want to just repeat that question just in case?
Absolutely. So, look, with Open Homes Australia, I mean, what had you guys choose to be on the show, or to be one of our partners on the show?
Oh, look, we're really excited when we can talk, I guess, to a more mainstream audience, to really understand, help people understand that this stuff is not, no longer a kind of a niche market. I mean, we know that 20 to 30% of houses in Australia got solar. So being able to be out there, on Channel 9 Live, very, wide general public type audience, really good platform to explain to people how this stuff fits as part of an overall home project.
No, fantastic. And what specific technology is being featured on the show? I mean, I know the home itself has been installed now for not a massive amount of time, but for some time. And since then, there has been some new tech coming to the table as well. I mean, are you familiar with what's being featured on the episode?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so there's about 50 panels, I believe, all powered by the latest IQ7A microinverter.
Yes.
So I think for that, when someone's investing such a lot to build their kind of forever home, and it's a spectacular house, it's amazing.
That's amazing.
And having like a 50 panel system up there, maximizing the amount of energy they're generating. This gives them a really good focus, I guess, on quality, longevity, which we think the product really fits well with.
No, absolutely. I mean, I know the homeowner themselves are absolutely thrilled. Not only with the visuals. I mean, if you look at that home, it's absolutely stunning, and the solar system doesn't look out of place. But then from a technology point of view, and the impact it's had on their power bill is absolutely phenomenal. So certainly, its efficiency and quality are working in unity, which is absolutely brilliant. Yeah. Wilf, if we can move to just a little bit more about the industry itself. I mean, there's been a lot of ups and downs in our specific industry over the last couple of years. A lot more so, caused by the impacts of COVID, which obviously affected a lot of people around the world, not everyone. And we've had our own sort of issues inside of logistics and transportation and the actual products, being all from a manufacturing perspective. But what trends would you see, or what trends are you seeing in the marketplace right now in this industry?
Look, I think for me, the most exciting one is around sort of whole home electrification, that whole thing about electrifying everything. And when you look at removing reliance on gas, and obviously, politically right now, that's pretty topical. And, saving, why use gas to do things that electricity does perfectly well, would be my sort of, my statement on it, right? So when you're looking at your home, do you really need a gas cooker? Induction cookers are fantastic. Do you really need gas heating? Heat pumps and reverse cycle aircon are fantastic, right? So what that means is that you're going to need larger solar systems. You're going to need a much larger amount of solar energy to drive all of that electrified home stuff. And that's before you start talking about electric vehicles. And that's obviously going to be a massive driver of bigger systems. So definitely we see bigger systems as a trend. And, I think from our point of view, that plays well with what we're all about, because, a bigger system means a more complex install. You don't just have a neat little kind of strip of solar panels sitting on a north-facing roof. You've probably got some on the west and some on the east and maybe a couple on the south. And, they're all kind of in different areas and what have you. And having a system that treats every panel as its own individual thing, like the Enphase system does, means that there's a lot more chance that you can just take advantage of that and maximize your system. So I think that's probably a theme that we're seeing just every year. The systems sort of get bigger and bigger for obvious reasons, right?
Absolutely. I mean, certainly we're certainly seeing the inquiries we're getting are all about maximizing roof space. So it really is, what size system do I need for my family of four? Well, traditionally, 24 kilowatts a day, a 6.6 kilowatt system would be absolutely fantastic. At the same token, if you've got the roof space, max it out. I mean, and certainly exactly what you just covered up with your particular product. I mean, the roofs of today the homes of today are stunning, but they're architecturally designed. There's lots of little facets, where from a solar designer's perspective, I remember back in the day using Nearmap to draw pictures of the panel. Like, can't put any there, can't put any there, can only fit one single panel. But in respect to the product that you guys have available to you, you literally can, if the customer wanted to, decorate the entire roof.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the trend that we'll be seeing as people try and create a whole energy system that's kind of seamlessly integrated into their house. And I think the idea of sitting down there, as you say, a solar designer painstakingly trying to figure out exactly how to do that, bundling everything into single kind of DC sort of strings and connecting those to separate inverters. It's just becoming kind of quite impractical moving forward unless you've got that kind of module level approach. We think that works well.
Fair play. Look, I touched briefly on some challenges that we've been facing. I mean, what challenges do you see other industry facing right now?
Look, I think from an industry point of view, and obviously it depends a little bit on the audience for this, but I think where we're seeing that there needs to be a lot more work done on compliance of systems. Making sure that as we grow the distributed energy kind of fleet out there, and you start getting things like virtual power plants and all of that, that should really kind of ring a bell for people to say, hang on, power plants, there's got a lot of rules around power plants out there in terms of what they do and how they behave. Should maybe this have big for, virtual power plants and smaller systems. And it's not about more red tape. It's just about making sure that as people get larger systems and they're more reliant on their systems, that they're not kind of cheap and cheerful throwaway kind of items. There's something that's kind of robust and solid and well maintained, and that the industry gets behind that kind of a trend. I think that's something that we really want to see. And then I think you also touched on the supply chain issues. Obviously, the global supply chain at the moment is pretty lively. We're to some extent well positioned in that we use contract manufacturing. So we use third-party manufacturing facilities around the world. So we've got a facility in probably I think 4 different countries now, which gives us a lot of flexibility in terms of how we make the product and ship the product. But then we need to source components to actually put in them. So then that just moves the problem further down the line. So it's an ongoing challenge. But I guess from our point of view, sourcing semiconductor components and chips and RAM and all these kind of things, as a Silicon Valley based company, we've got a lot of people that have been doing this their whole lives. So we see them sweating, but they're doing a good job. So we're pretty happy.
You've got a very large stash put away somewhere in San Fran or
yeah, under the bridge somewhere, just kind of
watching face competitors.
Yeah, that stuff.
Fantastic. And look, Wilf, I always ask everyone this question, but in your opinion, batteries, EVs, I mean, are they worth it right now?
Look, I think it depends on what your objective is. I mean, I've got both personally. I think from an EV point of view, 100%. You see now, like every few months, there's new vehicles announced. The price points coming down. They definitely are, plenty of cars in that price range of a, premium end vehicle. And for the majority of the time, you're not going to be driving, more than 400 Ks or 500 Ks in one hit, right? I mean, I definitely don't enjoy driving more than 500 Ks in one hit. So I think in terms of the range, I think it's fine, unless you're planning on driving to Sydney, and in which case, fine, you can stop off and charge up. So I think EVs, absolutely get into it. And I think home batteries, it depends on, the size of your solar system. If you've got a tiny solar system, you're probably not going to have enough excess to actually use a battery in the first place. So I think it goes hand in hand with bigger systems. If you've got a bigger system, I definitely think that batteries are worth doing, because what you get paid now for exporting excess solar energy is so small that being able to keep that power to yourself, use it when you want, I think is pretty important.
No, absolutely. It's almost like the feeding tariff has almost done the job for for the industry. And so look, selling it back at 6 cents per kilowatt hour, you are so much, you're, as you said, as long as your system's big enough, so you can generate the excess electricity, then battery is the way forward. 100%.
Yeah, that's right.
And from our point of view, I mean, obviously from an Energy Matters perspective, we're, as you know, we're all about a zero carbon future. So we'd love to see every single home completely covered with panels, batteries, EVs on the street, EV charging stations, complimentary provided by our state government, if you're listening, free EV chargers for everyone. But on a zero carbon future, Wilf, I mean, what are your thoughts on climate change? We've seen some pretty significant weather over the past few weeks. With the floods across Queensland and there, we're in New South Wales and more than likely spreading south. I mean, what are your thoughts on what's happening with climate change right now?
Yeah, look, I mean, obviously this is something I feel pretty strongly about, because that's why I moved into this industry 15 years ago. And I think at the moment there's kind of something for everyone. If you're into moral outrage, it's the greatest moral challenge of our times. If you're into capitalism, it's probably the biggest wealth creation opportunity since people started drilling for oil, right? And if you're a denialist, then it's an opportunity to dig a record-breaking hole to bury your head in. no previously dug hole will be big enough. You'll need to go next level. So, I think there's really, opportunity. I see the upside. Like I think focusing on the negatives of it makes it hard to get out of bed in the morning. So you got to look at the opportunities. And I think from a commercial point of view, from a sort of a moral point of view, there's just so much stuff you can get out there and get your teeth into. So I'm always stunned when I meet people outside of this sector. It's like, why don't you do something else for a job? Like, why wouldn't you be doing this? This is where it's at.
No, completely. And there are so many opportunities. I mean, what would you say are the small changes people can make to help move us towards a zero carbon future? What little things can we get involved in?
Look, I think the point I made earlier about electrifying everything, I think that's a real trend. Any opportunity you get to look at an electric equivalent to an existing gas appliance in your home, whether it's, I know Weber have got an electric barbecue out there that I know a couple of people that have got that I'm probably going to buy in the next couple of weeks. Or if you're renovating your kitchen, look at induction cooktops. If you're building a house, look at heat pumps. And if you've got a vehicle, if you're buying a vehicle in the next couple of years, take a really good look at EVs. So I think that's a sort of a theme. And then obviously the small changes around reuse and recycle is stuff that should really be part of everyone's kind of menu to begin with.
Absolutely. And there are so many small things that anyone can do. I mean, fundamentally, if you've got your own home and you've got the opportunity of getting a solar power system on there, then it's an absolute no-brainer. I mean, literally, it's gone past the day now where it was conversational. Should I? Shouldn't I?
Yeah,
absolute, 100% yes. And the great thing is there's so many options out there to make that affordable and to almost tailor that system to suit the consumer, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
With Enphase, Wilf, I mean, what's being done to reduce the carbon footprint, promote sustainability? I mean, I know Enphase is an absolute powerhouse of a brand, and I think anyone that's watched this today is really starting to understand now how Enphase is positively affecting our industry. But what else would you like to, what else is
look, I mean, I think the approach we take to all of this, and obviously we've got ESG policies and what have you that are within the business, and we try and reduce packaging and all the good things. But I think fundamentally what we have as part of the way we look at products is that, they're supposed to be long life, high quality. We have up to 25-year warranties on our product. We expect them to go the distance. And I think philosophically, from our point of view, we feel that if you're buying something that's, that's good quality and you're not sort of throwing it away and replacing it every few years, then that's, helping do our bit to make our delivery of solar energy, or our role in the delivery of solar energy, more efficient and more sustainable. But look, I think it's definitely something we need to keep promoting. I think especially the more we're involved in the building sector. I was recently renovated my own house, and I was stunned at the amount of just rubbish that left the building site every day. We weren't doing that much, but yet there were skips and skips and skips just full of offcuts and packages and bits of plastic and bits of this and bits of that. That's definitely a space that needs a lot of awareness around keeping sustainability front and center.
It's absolutely crazy how much, how plastic is still heavily utilized. I mean, Christmas, and I share this with you because I had this chat on one of the podcasts a few weeks ago, but it just came back to me Christmas morning. I mean, just with our 11-year-old child, I mean, she's heavily into sustainability and recycling, and she was just gobsmacked how much plastic came off the back of her, opening her presents. It's ridiculous, right? It's absolutely ridiculous. I think there has to be a massive move towards that. But really, from a manufacturing point of view, I mean, really being able to produce and to have the entire manufacturing process fully powered by renewable energy, I mean, that's when we then start getting to that sort of zero carbon future. So we're hoping that everyone starts to move forward. It seems like there are. I mean, the uptake at the moment of large corporation and public listed companies, of large private companies now sort of declaring their focus towards being 100% renewable is absolutely fantastic and so inspiring. So I'm really glad to see that's coming up, and people have obviously got to have that awareness. What is next for Enphase, Wilf? I mean, what is, if you're to leave shamelessly spruik now for the next minute, what do you want everyone to know about Enphase? What's coming next?
No shame. There's no shame in a good spruik. So look, I think simple answer there, storage. So we've been behind the eight ball a bit there in the sense that we wanted to come to market with a really solid storage offering, which we did about 12 months ago in the States. Wanted to get it out there. It's a very sort of big, robust kind of solid product, very similar, I guess, to our micros, and that it's designed to kind of last a long time and really power your home. We've rolled that out into Europe, and so it's been going there for about 6 months, and now we're bringing it out later this year into Australia. So that's getting all of our focus, making sure everyone out there knows how to use it, knows what it can do. Create a smooth install process for all the installers and homeowners out there. We don't launch many products out here, so in general, like we do a few products, but we do them real well. So that means we're going to spend the rest of the year just kind of prepping and getting it in place. So that's my next 9 months dealt with.
Mate, fantastic. Well, I'm very, very excited to see that coming to the Australian market, as I'm sure everyone else who's watching or listening is as well. Wilf, thank you so much for your time today. I really do appreciate it. I'm incredibly excited to see Enphase on TV on Saturday. I'm saying a few words on behalf of you, so I hope I do you guys credit. And thank you once again, mate. You're an absolute legend.
Yeah, no worries. Great to catch up. Cheers,
Thanks,
Ross.
mate.
Talk to you
All
later.
right, guys. So, look, that's another episode done. Wilf, such a good lad. Enphase, brilliant technology. But before we finish up, guys, please remember that you can get up to 3 free quotes for solar power and also free energy bill comparison via our website, which is energymatters.com.au. Please make sure you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel and give us a follow on our Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn pages. Do not miss this Saturday's Open Homes Australia, 4:30 p.m. on 9 Live. It will be repeated throughout the week, and we will play a preview clip of what's on the segment for Enphase sometime next week as well. If you're watching this next week, then we hope you enjoy the episode, and we can't wait to see you next week. Thanks a lot, guys. All the best.